Deb Johnstone, and welcome to Elevating Entrepreneurs Summit. I'm holding this summit because, like you, I'm an entrepreneur and I know some of the challenges that we can face. I want to show you how you can have plenty of time and the money you want without sacrificing you or your life. Today, I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Kori Propst. Kori is the Wellness Director and the Vice President of the Diet Doc. She has a bachelor's degree in exercise physiology, a master's in counseling, and a doctorate in health psychology and behavioral medicine. She also has certifications in personal training, health coaching, and lifestyle and weight management consulting. Kori's areas of speciality include mental and physical training, nutrition, personalized programming, mind-body integration, mindset, optimal performance, and overall health and well-being. I'm really excited to have Kori with us today because she's going to be talking about the leverage that our health and well-being has over anything else that we achieve in our life. And she's going to be sharing some tips on how to cultivate a wellness program that works for busy entrepreneurs. Kori, welcome. It's wonderful to have you with us today.
Hi, Deb. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you join us. So pleased you can. Kori, I'd love it if you'd share with our viewers. I mean, you've done a lot. You've done a lot in your life. A lot. I'd love it if you share with our viewers a little bit about your journey and how you came to be doing this.
Gosh, well, if you'd asked me 20 years ago if I knew that I would be where I am now, I wouldn't know what to say. Of course not. It's kind of been an evolution. You know, when I got started after graduate school, I was doing in-home mental health therapy with families and kids at risk of being placed out of the home. So to be the vice president of, an international nutrition and weight loss consulting company, and we also license our programming. So we have about 120 locations across the US and overseas now, helping not only business owners who really want to shift their own lives, but shift their clients' lives too in a very generative, sustainable way, helping them build their businesses, but then to also be on the client side of it and the practical side of it. I never expected to be here, but looking like we do as entrepreneurs for those opportunities when they arise and when they show up, maybe sometimes when we least expect it. That's kind of how I got here. I started competing in natural bodybuilding on a whim. And then through that endeavor, met individuals within this industry. And, the Diet Doc as a company has been around for over 20 years, but was focused mainly on nutrition. And then I came in to really create the mental edge mindset and behavioral programming to go along with the nutrition and weight loss side to really balance it out and then merge the physiology with the psychology so that individuals can really not just meet their weight loss and nutrition and health goals, but actually sustain them. Yeah.
And that's the key, isn't it? The sustainability.
It's the key.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone can lose weight. Anyone can, meet a goal in the short term and do what it takes to get there. But then to have the level of knowledge that can actually be applied in a sustainable way in order to maintain those gains, that's the real secret.
Yeah.
And it's not even necessarily a secret. I think it's sad that most people think it's a secret because the data is out there, the information is out there, but you look across the industry at the diets that people typically will go on, and they're not teaching that piece of it. What differentiates the maintainers from the regainers? What do they do? How do they think? How do they behave? What actions do they put into place in order to sustain it?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, and it is. It's the maintenance. It's very easy to start something, but to continually maintain it so you get sustained change, it takes mindset. Yeah.
It does. And I love that you say it's easy to start something. we're always very highly motivated, and we've got this really almost tangible energy around like, ooh, I want to lose weight. Like, I'm going to lose those 50 pounds or 10 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And what we often miss, the piece that we miss, is to ask ourselves, okay, that's great. Like, that's a fantastic outcome that's out there that I would like to reach. But when we reverse engineer it, what are all the obstacles that we might butt up against? And what are the barriers that we need to consider? And what's why? And you hear this all the time. What's the big why? But why do we hear it all the time? Because it's that important. Because that sustained motivation, that motivation that got us to start the goal in the first place, isn't going to last. We know that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to wax and wane, that energy, that sense of aliveness we feel. But if we're entertaining this goal just for an external pursuit, for image, for status, for money, that'll keep us going for a little while.
Yeah.
It'll keep us going for a little while, but the big why has to be integrated into our identities, who we are as people, how we want to show up in the world, what we represent, what are our principles, what's our character about. If we can tie that outcome to those things, then that motivation has the potential to really help us soar throughout the entire pursuit. And that's what gets me excited.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yes.
I can see that. That is true. And then the motivation becomes internal, doesn't it, rather than external? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's that integrated piece. It becomes a part of you. You know, instead of looking for things in the environment to motivate us, or for always asking for people to motivate us, or for hiring a coach to motivate us. Yeah. You know, yes. Yeah. Coaches can be great motivators. I hire coaches all the time, but it's not necessarily to get motivation from them. It's to learn things, new knowledge, because most of us know the more we begin to know, the more we find out we don't, right? Oh, and, you know, and then there's knowledge, but unless we understand those, knowledge is facts. And facts don't mean anything unless there's some sort of meaning attached to them in a way that helps us to understand them.
Yeah. And
then that understanding turns into wisdom when we can begin teaching it and applying it in our own lives. So there's this evolution from knowledge to wisdom. And that's what we really try to teach our clients. It's not just, here are the facts, like you should have a pre-workout meal and it's best to have protein after you work out. Yeah. I want them to understand why, and then to actually feel the difference in their bodies when they do it, so that then it's meaningful for them and it's something that they'll always key in on and can implement long term.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. And that then becomes more easily maintained and more sustained because they're personally invested into it.
Absolutely. That's a very good way of putting it. They're personally invested. Yeah.
So, you know, entrepreneurship, that takes a lot of learning how to sustain yourself, learning how to maintain yourself, your behavior, your energy, all that sort of thing. So why does health and wellness play such an important part in entrepreneurship, playing the entrepreneurship game?
I would say first step, because we have to have a foundation from which to build the entrepreneurial skills. No matter what business you're in, you know, we have to be able to set ourselves up for having the best energy in order to implement all of the other skills, the sales, the marketing, the client development, all of those other things that are involved in owning and growing a business. So if we're not taking care of our nutrition. And here's why this is a big deal. Our nutrition is directly related to our energy. It's it's directly related to our moods. Okay, what we are eating directly impacts our gut health. And 90% of the serotonin in our bodies that most people think comes from our brains is produced in our gut. So what we are eating has a direct impact on our energy, our stamina, our outlook, the level of positivity that we're going to have, our ability to manage our moods well. So just thinking of it from a quality of food perspective, if we're fueling on just fast food all day and convenience foods and packaged stuff, and I'm not saying that all of it is awful and bad and we should discount every single packaged food choice, because at the Diet Doc we say no foods are off limits. Like, we are not, you can never eat this and you absolutely have to eat that. But paying special attention to what you choose and why you're choosing it, and then having a level of awareness around how it's impacting your energy and just blood sugar levels throughout the day. And do we feel even keel, or are we hungry all day long because all we're eating is carbohydrates to pick up our energy, and then our blood sugar drops again, and so we want more carbs, and so we eat more carbs, and now we're up here, and then we're, you know, that really uncomfortable roller coaster. So nutritionally, that is why we really want to pay attention to that piece of kind of the health continuum. Exercise wise, you know, our bodies are made to move. I'm doing this interview standing up for a reason. I have better energy. I feel more expansive and open, and I can think more clearly when I'm standing, when I'm ambulatory. Okay, so, you know, taking breaks, and we can talk about certain tips and tools and things that I do throughout the day to keep my energy high, but taking breaks on a regular basis, if we're used to sitting at a desk all day, you know, doing something to refresh ourselves, going and getting water to stay hydrated so we have better clarity and focus and can think more clearly. All of these things are so, so important. And, you know, it's funny, a lot of the people that I'll start consulting with, they don't realize how bad they feel until they start to feel better. And just by tweaking just a few things with their nutrition, and that maybe the timing of their meals or how they're combining their meals with protein and carbohydrates, can make such a massive difference. And then you get into the sleep aspect of things. And what do we hear all the time with entrepreneurs? Like, you'll sleep when you're dead. Okay. Or you're going to die earlier. And, you know, there's so much research out there on sleep now that says it changes your brain, it changes your body, it changes every cell. You know, lack of sleep is related to Alzheimer's and all sorts of other diseases. And I'll admit, like, there have been phases of my life where I've gotten like 5 hours of sleep for long periods of time per night. And was I feeling fantastic? No, of course I wasn't. But, you know, I justified it then. Now, and I'm going to reveal my age here. I'm going to be 40. I need more sleep. And I recognize much better now. I have a greater level of awareness around when I need to shut it off. Shut the work off, put it away. It's going to be there tomorrow. You know, as entrepreneurs, it never goes away. Like let's clear our inbox syndrome. Let it go, people.
Yeah, exactly, because it never clears.
So, you know, for me, it's having very hard lines, setting bright boundaries around when the computer goes away. And it doesn't mean I don't like work on vacations and things like that. But again, there are bright boundaries around what's okay and what isn't. And when I'm on and when I'm off, and a level of awareness around how those things are affecting me physically and energetically and even relationally.
Yes.
So
yeah. Yeah, I do agree. And I know that for me, if I have spent too much time on the computer, or if I have, and I do the same as you, I shut my office down and I walk away at a certain time. But sometimes I might jump on my phone and have a bit of a look on Facebook. And if I do that too late, I notice that it affects my sleep patterns. It affects my quality of sleep, how much sleep I get. And it's so important to just let it go. And like you say, get over trying to clear your inbox, because like trying to clear your to-do list, it never clears.
No, it's revolving.
That's right.
Yeah, I have what I call the Kori's productivity playlist, and it's a certain, it's a piece of paper that I have like 3 projects across the top that are ongoing, that have specific steps that need taken care of. That's there like all the time. It never goes away. Just the steps, the steps get done and recycle. And then I have the things that absolutely have to be done that day. That's what's going to dictate when I shut down. Yes.
Yeah.
But like you said, there are some things that they're going to require more time, more time, more energy, more effort. Other people are involved. And so you're waiting on them, these longer projects. But having those bright boundaries is really important, and having daily disciplines, just the disciplines that you set up on a daily basis that are, this is what I do because I'm Kori Propst and this is how I function best.
Yeah.
Because you are Deb, this is what you do.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Yeah. And it could be, when my alarm goes off, I get up. There is no pushing the snooze button. I've never in my life pushed the snooze button, because to me, that's pushing the snooze button on life.
Yeah.
If you set your alarm at a certain time, you're supposed to get up at that time, right? Like, that's always how I've operated. If you push the snooze, you're not really sleeping anyway, so just get up.
Yeah.
And then the first thing I do in the morning is I go have a small pre-workout snack, and then I go exercise. That's not a great routine for other people. They don't want to, they feel best with exercising in the evening. Not me. That's when I feel really heavy and sluggish and I'm tired. I've done it. I've exercised at different times throughout the day, and I've always just felt my best and most energetic in the morning. And it doesn't matter how much sleep I've gotten or I haven't gotten. Man, that workout time for me, because it's become automatic, it's my discipline. I look forward to it. I feel refreshed. I feel revived. I feel rejuvenated. It's what Kori does. And so for your participants, it's really important just to start take stock of, how you operate currently. And here's what I hear from a lot of people: I don't have time. I don't have time to put these things into my life. Well, when you put something in, something else has to go away, right? If I say yes to one thing, I have to say no to another. So it might be a no to scrolling through Facebook for an hour.
Yes.
What's more important? What's going to help you feel better? Because guaranteed, and I'm going to speak for a lot of people when I say this, scrolling through Facebook doesn't make you feel good. Typically, when I really try to stay off social media as much as possible, except for business. But I have a lot of clients who I ask to take a hiatus from social media for a certain period of time. They go on a no social media diet. And it's amazing how much better they feel, how much more they get done, how much more productive they are, how much less they're comparing themselves to everyone else, and they feel their lives open up.
Yeah.
When we engage in that comparison, oh, we just collapse. It's like we start asking ourselves horrible questions that don't even need our attention or deserve an answer.
That is very true. That's I always say that's one of the fastest ways to kill motivation is to do that comparison thing, compare with other people.
And that happens a lot with dieting. It really does. And just if we look at our body types and our metabolisms, how many calories we can eat per day to maintain a healthy weight. You see it all the time. I wish I could eat as much as that person, or, how come my metabolism is so much slower than his is? My boyfriend needs 4,000 calories a day to maintain his weight. I need 1,400. I get all bent out of shape about that, or I could just realize that I'm a 110-pound, 5'2" woman.
Yeah.
Okay. He's a 170-pound male. Okay. 5'10", and we have completely different body types. It doesn't matter how much he can eat, except for the fact that I cook for him. That's all that matters. I need to grocery shop. I need to cook more rice for the man. But that comparison does us no good. When we look at body types, for example, we have the endomorphs, the mesomorphs, and the ectomorphs of the world. So you have the taller, leaner, lankier people, who need just more food to maintain their body weights, and they're going to lose weight a lot faster. They're the ectomorphs of the world. Then you have the mesomorphs, which is more in the middle. They have a more athletic frame. They can lose or gain well either way, but they have more muscle on their bodies. And then the endomorphs they're rounder. They move more slowly. They're not fidgety, like the ectomorphs are always moving. Like my boyfriend he's always swinging his leg and you. Yes. And I can tell you're taller, you're leaner. Yes.
Yeah.
That's not me, guys. I'm more towards the middle, towards the other end. Not a super fast metabolism. And, I think a lot of people, they believe too that, and I hear this a lot, their metabolisms are damaged because they went on this no carbohydrate diet and their metabolisms got incredibly suppressed. And I'll tell you guys, all the research shows that a no carb diet is not the best way to maintain your weight long term. And I don't know a single person, unless they are doing a real ketogenic diet for purposes related to cancer, who can maintain a diet like that. We need carbohydrates. Yeah. We really do, to fuel our brains. And if we're exercising, especially, it's important. So.
Absolutely. And it comes down to quantities and types of carbs as well, doesn't it, Kori?
It does. Yeah, absolutely does. You have your complex carbohydrates and you have your more simple sugars and simple carbs that are going to digest a lot faster and really affect your blood sugar in different ways. And so, I tend to be, because I don't have a super fast metabolism, I don't eat a lot of carbs, comparatively speaking. And most of my carbohydrate sources come from vegetable sources. I love them and they keep me feeling full. And they're full of color, so that means they're full of vitamins and antioxidants. And so it does come down foundationally to total amount of calories, okay, for every single one of us on the planet. How much can we eat to maintain an optimal weight calorically? But then it comes to macronutrients, and the macronutrients are proteins, carbs, and fats. And each one of us is going to fare well a little bit differently in terms of what those ratios are going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's going to depend too on what our goals are. You know, are we just needing to maintain our weight? Are we really wanting to work on building muscle? Are we endurance athletes? No. Are we wanting to lose body fat?
Yeah.
And yeah, so it comes down to that. And then it comes down to like the structure and timing of your meals. You know, for me, I feel better eating fewer meals per day, 3 to 4, having them be more substantial and having more space in between.
Yeah.
For my boyfriend who needs to eat 4,000 calories a day, eating 3 meals a day isn't going to work for him. They'd be too massive. So he's eating like 6 or 7 times a day and needs to do that for the best way to fuel his body.
Yeah. So it's really about learning what works for your body type, isn't it?
It really is. Yes.
I remember I was at a training once with, and there were the majority of people in the training were personal trainers, and they had their lunch boxes, so they were coming out every 2 or 3 hours.
Their lunch boxes out every 2 or 3 hours.
2 or 3 hours, they were eating on something. Yeah, they were eating something to sustain, because they were all building. You know, they were all building muscle.
And it's really funny. I mean, there are so many myths around like optimal meal timing. And that was one of them, Deb, for a long time, is that you need to eat every 2 to 3 hours. Well, not really. Like if I ate every 2 to 3 hours and I'm eating 1,400 calories a day, my meals are going to be pretty dang small, right?
Yeah, that's right.
They're like little snacks. And when you think about how that affects hunger, I'm hungry all the time then, because that teeny snack is just barely increasing my blood sugar. So I feel like I'm on the edge all day long waiting for my next meal. I'm like, when do I get to eat again? And so that may have been okay for some people, but eating every 2 to 3 hours doesn't work for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same as you. I do eat about 3 meals a day with probably one snack. If I get a little bit hungry, I'll eat some nuts or something like that. But yeah, I'm pretty much the same. And I find that keeps me really well fueled, because I do have a really healthy diet. I'm very much the same as you. I eat a lot of complex carbohydrates, so a lot of vegetables.
And those will help you feel fuller for a longer period of time, because they're so much higher in fiber and volume.
Yeah.
So you consider that, you know, a cup of broccoli has 4 to 6 grams of carbohydrates, and a cup of white rice has 44 grams of carbohydrates. But you'll feel, you know, they're going to impact your blood sugar very differently. And the broccoli is going to be digested a lot more slowly than the rice will. And there are times when one is better than the other.
Yeah.
You know, you want a quick digesting carbohydrate before you go work out. You're not going to eat a cup of broccoli before you go run on the treadmill or, you know, go do your CrossFit workout or whatever it is you're doing for activity. That's not going to provide you the energy that you need.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. So, so it's different for everyone. So it's different food. And I love what you shared about a diet that's high in sugar will have you, you know, give you that energy to move fast and do a lot in a short period of time. And then you have to crash afterwards. And I think that's what a lot of people do when they're really busy, is they reach out for that food that's high in sugar, because they're saying, I need sugar. And then they eat it, but then they crash afterwards, and they get this cycle, don't they?
They do. They're on this blood sugar energy roller coaster.
Yeah.
And they're constantly trying to find a way to feel stable. And there's nothing wrong necessarily with sugar, although it has been associated with, you know, the more sugar you eat, like non-natural sugars, added sugars to things, the higher likelihood you have of being obese and contracting health diseases and conditions. So you want to be careful with the total amount of sugars that you're consuming, but think about it in terms of having balanced meals. So protein as a base with carbohydrates, because it slows down the digestion of those carbohydrates that you're eating. Yeah. So that your blood sugar is going to rise, but then you kind of get this nice stable level, and then as it starts to fall, you don't crash. It's not you feel fine and then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna eat my arm. It's okay. It's more gradual. You're starting to feel hungry. You're thinking, well, I'm in a meeting right now. I'll be able to eat in another hour. You feel more grounded, which is a great place. No one likes to feel hangry. No one likes to feel that way. It's terrible.
No.
And no one wants to be around you when you're that way either.
No.
But these are the things that are that's easily mitigated. It is, just by paying attention to what you're consuming and doing a little bit of planning. Yeah. Again, it takes some time, but it's totally worth it when you look at your schedule and you're like, yeah, I'm wasting time doing this, and this all day long, which is completely unnecessary, and I could be spending it doing this, and this.
That's so true. And that drop in blood sugar really, I know for me, it has a massive effect on my productivity levels, because I can't focus. I'm in a cloud, and I can't really focus on what I'm doing, and it takes twice as long to complete it, because I'm not putting the right fuel in, and my body's not getting the fuel that it needs. And I've actually started to carry a bag of nuts in my bag for those times when I am caught out, just until I can get to the next meal time. So what I'm hearing, it's about diet. It's about diet and eating foods that are going to sustain you and provide the fuel. It's about having doing exercise that actually works for you. So you mentioned sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes it's in the evening for some people. Is that right?
Yeah, when people ask me when should I exercise, I say when you will.
Yeah.
Do it when you will. Don't do it in the morning because someone told you should and it works for them. Do it when it's best for you. And do too, what you will enjoy.
Yeah.
Maybe you think you hate all exercise right now and you don't like to sweat, and that's not me. I love to sweat. The sweatier the better. But try something. You got to pick something and try it. Give it a few tries. Some people really like to work out and exercise by themselves. Some people really like to work out with others.
Yeah.
And in a group setting, because you get all of that connecting energy. It really, I go back and forth. I used to teach spinning and I used to teach aerobics, and I love group fitness classes. But there are times too when I just want to pop my headset in and listen to a podcast and lift my weights by myself, like no one bother me. So the key is, I think with anything, just like with foods, a lot of people, I have a lot of clients who come to me and say, I don't like vegetables. Like you're throwing out an entire food group. Have you tried every single vegetable on the planet? Really? Like, you've documented that. You have the entire list of veggies and you've checked everyone off. I don't think so.
I just don't like the vegetables that Mum used to make me eat, probably.
Right? I have some of those. Yes, I spit the peas in my napkin. So same thing. It's committing to getting curious and saying, okay, I'm willing to try it. And maybe a few times, because one time probably isn't enough. The first experience is going to be different than the second. It's going to be different than the third. I can roast broccoli. I can steam broccoli. I can saute broccoli 3 different ways.
Yeah. Yeah, so true. And and the same thing. Yeah, same thing with exercise as well.
Yes, exactly.
Try it a number of times.
And if you're not doing any right now, aside from the fact that just try something, don't go balls to the wall and think that you have to be. If you've never run, don't go do a marathon this weekend. You'd be surprised. I feel silly saying that, but you know what? Go for a walk first. Go for a walk for 20 minutes. Start small. I remember when I started cycling for the first time, I'm a person who's like, no, I want to keep going. No, more. Like, no, let's go climb that mountain. No, let's do 10 more miles. And I do that, and it's in my blood and it's in my background and my education. So it's just, it's tempering that excitement too, because you recognize that if you hurt yourself early on, the likelihood that you're going to do it again. Yes. So it's just like when we're learning a new skill, and those entrepreneurs who are watching, you know, if you're involved with clients in any coaching capacity, your primary endeavor is to ask them to engage in a challenge that you know they can achieve, so that they can increase their sense of confidence and competence, so that they want to do it again.
Yeah.
If you go out there and you annihilate your spirit because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in so much, you wake up in the morning and you can't get out of bed, can't sit down on the toilet. It's just like, that's awful. I don't want to do that again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah. And that moving away strategy comes into it. I don't want to feel like that again, so I'm not going to do it again.
Right. Yeah. How do I want to feel? And how can I set myself up for that and plan in a way that allows for it?
Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
So like dieting, it's like saying, I'm going to lose 4 pounds a week. How are you going to do that and not starve to death?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm going to do it really fast. No, it's about taking the steps, smaller steps, and then building on it, isn't it?
Yes.
It's that 20-minute walk, then increase it to the 30-minute and the 40, and you start running if you want to, or
setting those very incremental goals.
Yeah.
I'm going to try one new vegetable a week. Yeah. Or I'm just going to start by, I'm going to write down what I'm eating, because I don't know how much I'm consuming right now.
Yeah.
I have no idea. So I'm going to start tracking.
That's interesting. Yeah, tracking what you're eating, because
it is interesting, Deb, because most people don't know what's going down the hatch. They don't know how much they're consuming. They don't know when they're actually eating. So now they get a sense for what their patterns of eating are. You know, and if they're eating out all the time, they're typically very ignorant about how much actual calories, especially from fat and carbohydrate, are coming into their bodies through those meals.
Yeah.
So it's super eye-opening. And all the research shows that tracking is the #1 behavior for, you know, losing weight and really accomplishing anything if you want some kind of checkpoints. So
that's so true. Tracking is one of the strategies that I teach my clients around time. So tracking time, and it is like the awareness you get out of it is amazing.
Yes. Yeah, it gives you a baseline. So all of my clients, before I start working with them, I ask them to track their food for 3 days. I just want you to write down everything that goes into your mouth. You know, everything you drink, everything you eat, even if it's like a little bite here or a snippet of something there, or it's a piece of candy off of your coworker's desk, if it's mints, if it's gum.
Yeah.
And it's mind blown when they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. Yes, that's the point.
Yeah.
You thought you weren't eating very much, and you were just convinced that something was wrong with your metabolism, that you were gaining all this weight. It is. It's really cool. It's really cool to see, and then be able to shift things in a way that they feel like they're eating a ton of food, but just because the quality of the food has changed and the timing of their food has changed, they feel full.
Yeah.
And they're losing body fat at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
Kori, is there anything else that you'd like to add before we finish?
I think, Deb, that I'm a big proponent of principles and having a process for doing things. A process to me is like the foundation of everything. It's kind of like a policies and procedures manual for Kori.
Yeah.
And I think everyone needs one of those.
Yeah.
You know, what is my process when I experience an emotion that's uncomfortable? What do I do with that? What is my process when I go out to eat and I've committed to ordering something healthier off the menu and everyone around me is ordering fried appetizers? Yeah. What's my process? You know, it gives us an intention. It gives us something to lean on. And so I just want to encourage everyone to reflect upon that. Ask themselves, what is my process right now as an entrepreneur when I have that hat on? You know, what is my process to be the best entrepreneur I can be in all of these areas, with my eating, with my exercise, with my hydration, with my time management, and just pick one thing within each one of those areas that you could influence. Because I think we get into this space where we're like, no, it's too much. Like, there's nothing that I can control, nothing at all.
Yeah.
And that's just not true. That's not realistic. But if we can ask ourselves the one question, like, what is one thing that I can influence, that I can move the gauge just a little bit on, and set that intention, then we have a direction, we have a path. And then track it. If you intend to walk every day, it's an everyday intention, do it for 5 minutes. If you're not doing any now, look at how amazing, you know, establishing that pattern and habit would be. Yeah. And then every time you do it, check it off, because that's what's going to build the motivation, and it builds momentum. So
yeah, love it. Fantastic. I agree. That's great. Much. This has been a fantastic conversation, and you've shared some really fantastic insights.
Well, Deb, thank you so much for the opportunity and for the great questions. It was fun.
It was fun. It was. And thank you everyone for tuning in. I trust you've gained some incredible insights for yourself. And remember, this is all about implementation. So you have a wonderful opportunity there to connect with Kori. So I encourage you to take advantage of that and click on that link and implement what you learn. Keep tuning in for upcoming interviews. We have more incredible experts all sharing their tips and strategies on how you can have plenty of time and the money you want without sacrificing you or your life. Talking on topics like productivity, time management, more on health and wellness, marketing, branding, mindset, and lots more. Kori, thank you so much. It's been fantastic connecting for this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Take care.
And thank you, everyone. And I look forward to connecting with you again soon.